Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the podcast. Co-host, Adrian Avila.
Aaron Castillo.
Yeah. Awesome. So today in this video, we're going to be just kind of diving in sort of a, I guess you would call it like an art controversy or art debate of what is real art versus non-art. Trying to, I guess, summarize like in all spans of music, painting,
Painting.
pretty much all the genres of art, and kind of, I guess, identifying, is it really good art, or is it just mediocre art, or is it just in limbo? Is it just sort of just there? You know what I mean? So I guess that's the debate or controversy that we can talk about, is what is real and what is not real.
Yeah.
I guess, in the, so to speak, of what is the real way of describing certain things in art. You know?
I feel like, we're not talking about our friend Art, or his brother Art. That guy's all right.
Arturo.
We'll let it slide. But it's funny because we actually kind of touched up on this on our last episode. We were talking about art and how, like, when someone, and I think this is the more modern art, when people, have this like big thing and they're, okay, like, let me show you more modern art, and it's this dude just like, has a pencil. He's
sorry,
like
I
this.
already know.
And then the whole room.
I'm sorry. Yeah. I don't mean to laugh, but
I personally don't see that way. I wish I could understand how. I'm open to seeing like what it is that they see. This is something I haven't researched on, but this is just an opinion for me right now.
Yeah.
It's funny to me, but it's real to other people.
Right.
So it's like, I'm not, trying to bring it down or anything. I would like to understand, but from the position I'm in right now, it's funny to me.
Yeah.
It's funny to me. Like, what is real?
Yeah, exactly. Like, I'm not even speaking right now.
Yeah, like, this is what we're doing is nothing. You know what I mean? Like,
We're just people. Just, it's the microphone. The mic's doing all the talking.
Right.
It's just this. And the desk, the plant. It's a setup.
It's all McDonald's, dude.
It's all McDonald's.
It's all McDonald's. But yeah, I guess one thing I can ask you, coming from someone, who actually has, done art and has worked on paintings, and who's kind of learned that side of life on how to, or what it is, just the composition of art. Like, what's some like insight, or what do you feel like what's true to you and what's not?
Yeah, obviously, like when I studied a little bit in college as well, like, taking art classes and taking painting, drawing, all those classes, like everything, if we're talking specifically about, certain artists, obviously there are real painters out there. There are real people that had, aesthetic looks when it came to, when you look at a canvas, and it has like a landscape, and that's like a real painting. And I respect that. And I can just think of like how many hours that artist took to create something like that, which is amazing to me, or even a portrait, like a face portrait, the Mona Lisa, for example.
Yeah.
Just the detail and, all these certain kind of colors, pastel colors, and all these, anything, oil painting, everything. But it's just, for me, like, that's what I like. Those are the kind of like art and painting stuff that I enjoy looking at. What was that painter really capturing in that whole big picture? But it's the modern art that sometimes I just kind of don't agree with. And I just don't, like you said, I don't like art where someone's like jumping on a trampoline.
I've seen
and they're like that, or like the doodling, that one's cool. I do like that guy, his name's Doodle, it's Mr. Doodle, and he just doodles and he like makes little pictures, and that's 100% originality. But it's like people who, I don't know, man, this is where it's like I get very like tense thinking about it, because it's like they call themselves an artist, but to what point? Then that means anybody can pick up obviously
anyone can cook.
Yeah, exactly. It's the same thing.
Right? Rats can cook, guys.
Yeah. Come on. Remy was up.
He's real.
He was on his head. And he was just.
He's in Paris right now.
So I think that's where it's very hard when I see people that just kind of just do this. It's like a grand painting that's worth like 5K. And I'm like, it's just a line. I've seen paintings like that where it's just a line, and I'm like, but what's so like?
What's the value of that? Like, what is that?
Yeah,
when it comes to making that, because literally anyone in that room could have done the same thing.
Yeah.
So what's the difference between me doing that and you doing that?
Yeah. Meaning like you could still do it, but again, it's like this whole like, and I don't mean to put like the value of what it's worth, but it's also the value of the time it was worth. Like, is it really worth the value time that you put into it?
Yeah.
Because I could make a painting in less than 5 minutes and just go like this, and then boom, that's just a few colors. What do you think? You know, and it's like, it's not a masterpiece, but it's like, I get it, but at the same time, like, why is it that people see certain
why
art
do they value it so
you know
much,
what I mean?
like highly?
I don't know. I guess they want to see something that's complete. Like, even when it comes to music, there's guys I've seen, those street performers where they like some street performers are really talented, no doubt, but I've seen guys that are like scratching like a snare drum, and then they're just tossing it in the air and they're going like this with it, and then they just like drop it on the floor, and I'm like, I don't really see that as
Grammy.
music. Yeah, like
There.
it starts with the forehead right here, and then it turns into the head scratch, and then it turns into the neck rub. I work my face different spots.
It just goes like this.
Yeah,
It goes from the front to the back.
this
to the
here,
neck.
head scratch, neck rub. Like, it makes me feel very uneasy when I think of those things, because it's like, you're just like making, like, it's just noise per se. It's not really music. And it's the same thing with painting. It's like, you're just putting little marks, but are you really, like, can you call yourself an artist? And that's where I'm just like, ugh. I know it's subjective, and I know people have their certain ways of doing things, but I guess, yeah, I don't know. Sometimes I feel like in this industry with art in general, like it's very diverse subject. And it goes with anything, even movies, because movies are a big thing, a big trend too as well. Like, you know, even like some of the modern movies, I personally don't like some of the modern movies. I personally don't like the modern humor today.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm there yet, but everybody seems to be hyping over this. Well, this is the way humor is, and this and that. I'm just like, I don't know. There's certain subjects that I could dive into, you know. It's just the way I see certain things, the way you see certain things as an outside perspective, as an audience member. You kind of want to be like wowed, but you also want to be like, wow, how long did it take you to do that? You know, like, how long did you work on it? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I feel like it's appreciated more, especially when you're doing not the same thing, but when you're in the same industry as someone else. And like, for example, like for me, when I create videos and stuff for TikTok, I'm like, man, I try and do my best with telling a story, right? And it takes me a while to do, you know, like a simple day in the life, right?
Yeah.
But then I see someone do like something so stupid
yeah.
and they're getting millions of views and likes, and I'm just like, what?
yeah.
Like this doesn't,
Yeah.
like there was this whole thing for like the tech talk side of TikTok where tech creators would literally just copy someone else, and they would say they would do the exact same video and copy it verbatim, and their video would do super well, but the person who created it was not.
No.
So it's like, you're literally just copying me,
Just a trend.
and you're getting the clout for it.
Yeah.
And I'm not. So I can see why people would get angry with that, because it's like,
There's no originality.
There's no originality. No. And again, a lot of things we do, there's not going to be. But it's like if I were just to copy you with everything you did. Like if you gave me a painting and I was like, okay, let me just paint the same thing.
Exactly, yeah.
And it's just like, I mean, that's cool, but
yeah.
It's like the
It's one of those-
substitute teacher. Remember when Key and Peele, when he's telling the joke,
Yeah.
and he's like, "I wish I was high on pot and noose," and then he tells the joke to the class, and everyone starts laughing, and it just elevates. And then Gabriel Iglesias comes in to be like, "Hey, you want to come on the show?"
I forgot about
and
that.
it wasn't
Yeah.
even his joke. It's that concept there,
Right,
And I can
right.
see that when it comes to like stuff with art, like
Yeah.
you know, you spend hours and you take time working on something that you think is really great,
Yeah.
and then you see someone else do something that took maybe 10 seconds to do,
Yeah.
and it's valued way higher than what you did.
Yeah. Exactly.
I
yeah.
feel like that's the gray area of seeing like what is it that we're valuing it.
Yes.
Like I would really like to know like why is that? I
Yeah.
don't, because I'm not in that world, you know,
Yeah.
as much as you are. But I could see why it gets frustrating to see it, why you're
Yes.
always like on edge,
Yeah.
because you're like, man, I literally just like spent a week trying to get this thing done.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I see obviously we see stuff on social media, and you're like, wow, this dude just jumped on a trampoline and, you know, did a squiggly line.
yeah.
And you're like, what?
Yeah, exactly. And I'm just like, how is this? And then it's, that's the good debate. And then the controversy of talking about like, it's the value of what is it really worth that, what it's really worth, you know? And that's where I'm like, yeah, like, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't think.
It's hard to
Like-
be like, that's really good. Like,
And some people will pay. How much? 4,000? Give me it. Like, I'm just like, give me two. I'm just like, but for what? It's a little dot. It's a black dot.
yeah.
With nothing to show. It's just a black dot.
Yeah.
Like what? Why? Like it's just one of those
No
subjects.
clue.
Yeah, I just get so.
I would
yeah.
really like to look up people who kind of explain that, because I'm sure people can. Just to
Yeah.
explain like what that world is like and how it works.
Yeah.
Because I don't know anything. You
Yeah.
know, you know a little bit, but even then, like we don't know why that is. We don't know why that is.
I mean, yeah, like if you use, it's kind of like in editing. It's like when you use a editing software and then someone uses a really good editing software, but let's say the guy who did the stuff that's not so good editing, and he got more recognition than the person that's editing with a bunch of crazy shit on his computer, and then that guy got famous for it. Okay, you kind of upset, right?
Yeah.
Because you put in the work. Same thing with music making and editing, movie making, all that. When you look at the scale and you see how much his time is going into all these things,
Yeah.
but then you look at one person that probably got more famous for making one little concept, little shot and something, and you're just like,
It's crazy because like when it comes to he just keeps going. When it comes to movies and shows, or not even show, just when it comes to movies, right? Just as an example, like
yeah,
I definitely appreciate when people can make something with less, because we've talked about that, making things with less, and
Less.
it can be better than something.
less is more.
Exactly. Like, for example, we did a short film, Guest Pass, 3 of us, right?
Yeah.
And then the competition was like a whole crew, but our video was better than theirs.
Right.
So
yeah.
that I can understand, because
Yeah.
it makes sense. It's like, wow,
Yeah.
like they created this such cool thing with such limited resources.
Yes.
And this person, this group over here, they have this whole crew of 20, 30 people.
Exactly.
And they created something that's not as
That's
good
like-
as that.
Yeah.
And you're like, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And when it comes to painting, I feel like there's no, or at least I don't know, there's no that gray area. Like
Yeah.
the one who makes less out of something is valued more, and
Yeah.
the one who does more is
less.
valued less. It's like, huh?
That's perfect. That's the perfect way of putting it.
Right.
Exactly the way you said it is exactly what's always going on in my mind as a person who's a big, a believer in this industry. And it's like it ties into what everything and like my brothers and I, we created our own band. And we believed that we wanted to do something without lyrics, which, it's nice to have a lyrics. The same thing, like it's good to have lyrics to a song because why? Everybody can sing. But in our case, we do stuff where it's only focused on the notes. It's only focused on the instrumentation, meaning no lyrics.
Yeah, instrumental.
But but to some people that's boring. To some people it's like,
I can tell you right
know.
off the bat, like when I first like knew you guys and stuff, like I knew how good you were playing.
No,
the stuff you played wasn't like my interest.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know, because
yeah.
I was like, I'm used to having lyrics.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
I'm used to that.
Yeah.
So it took me a while to kind of adjust to like understand why you guys do what you do.
Right,
and
right.
The reason behind it.
Yeah.
It's you know, art on bass, guitar, your
Yeah.
brother on sax and keys, and then
Yeah.
you on the kit. So it's like
Yeah.
I understand that. Like that's cool to me. Seeing
Yeah.
that, like I'm like that's awesome.
yeah.
But a lot of people aren't because they're like, well, you know,
And that's what I've looked at it too, is like I think everything in art industry or art in general is that there's a crowd for each genre and style.
Yeah.
And I think that's where I have to separate myself from. It kills me still to this day. It's like, you know, oh, I'm gonna just put a string right here, and I call this a
That's my
masterpiece. It is
masterpiece.
my masterpiece. You look at it, it was 2 million.
magnifique.
2 million, you know, and you're like,
No.
I know the time it's spent when you actually love creating something, when you make your own originality, whatever it is, music, editing, even filmmaking, drawing, painting. It's the time, and I guess that's the way I look at it. It's your time that's spent, but you know, it's a very broad subject to dive into, and that's where I just kind of have to calm myself down, because it could vary into other subjects, and we could have more debates. Obviously, if there was other, you know, art people that were in this industry, they would be like, well, you got to look at it from this perspective, you got to look at it from this perspective, and it's like,
I don't want to. I don't want
and it's
to.
hard, believe me. I'm not saying that it's hard for me to let go of my pride to hear someone else's.
At least you understand that, though.
Yes, yeah.
You know, at least you're not like just completely shutting it out and being
Yeah.
like, no, that's not art.
Yeah,
and then
exactly.
that's it.
Yeah.
At least you're open
I'm
to being
still
like, you know
open.
what?
Yeah.
Like, why is that
Exactly.
art?
Yeah.
Like, what makes that?
Yeah, I want to know the real, like, why. And it's
Yeah,
like, once they give me a reason
Then-
why, then I'm like, that's where I make my debate. Like,
exactly.
I don't think that's a good enough answer for me, or whatever, you know. But again, it's just, I have to separate. I have to swallow my pride. I have to like close my mouth, because it's like, it's because like I remember in art class where there was one where were in a circle, and my teacher made us draw the back of each other, the back of like
Like the
you
back
were
of the
facing
heads.
that way,
Yeah.
and I had to draw the entire frame of your whole entire body and your face, your details on your ear, every little thing, and like that person, you had to draw that person
So
had to
just kept
draw,
going.
and it was a train effect. So like, I know what that is like to work on something and you're staying there for hours, and in the so much time spent, tedious detail, and you're just sitting there in the same position for about 4 hours like this, and it's like nothing else matters. But you know, once again, like that's why I wanted to take those classes, because I wanted to take painting and drawing and all that, because I wanted to understand that perspective and understand that scale, you know. So and it ties into everything, you know. It ties into movies. Again, there's a lot of things that I still have not come to what's happening now, as far as even in filmmaking. There's a lot of things I don't like in some of the certain movies.
Yeah.
And I mean, I can give you a straightened up example. I mean, I'll get a lot of hate for it, but I didn't not understand Everything Everywhere All at Once. No disrespect to the movie. It was not my cup of tea. I really was like, this is filmmaking? See? And this is where the controversy starts. This is where people will be like, no, you're crazy. It's a work of art. And I don't know if I'm ready for that change, because I don't know if this is shifting into something that I'm not ready for yet, or if this is just temporary, somewhat just different change. They just want to be different. I don't get it, you know?
The first time I watched the movie, and with movies, I'm very open to anything.
Yeah.
I'll watch anything.
Yeah.
and I'm just like, okay, like I can start a movie and finish it. When I saw that movie, definitely see why people liked it. I think it's really good. It has a really good message to it, which is, you know, what a lot of people look for, I think.
Yeah.
In movies. Definitely more on the weirder side, like, of things that you see, which is, I guess, normal now.
Right.
Not one of the movies, like, that I like watching. Like, I'm not going to turn it on now.
Yeah.
But at the time, it's just one of those, like, oh, okay, that's cool.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm open to watch it. I'll give it a watch. Maybe one, maybe two times is already, like, for me, especially if it's an odd movie that I'm not ready yet to, like, I'm not ready to digest yet. But a lot of people could say that about a Tarantino film. A lot of people hate Django. A lot of people hate Kill Bill because of why? Because of the violence, because of the blood and all the, like, this, you know, Django is a big one too, I remember. Dealing with slaves and all that. But, like, there's that, you know, people don't like those kinds of movies. And it's like,
it makes them uncomfortable.
Exactly. So that's the same concept. The way I felt in certain movies, it makes me feel uncomfortable. And that's where I'm like, I'm on the fence. I'm not, like, disagreeing with the whole film completely. I actually liked watching the actors. I wanted to see Jamie Lee Curtis, the kid from Temple of Doom. I always forget his name. Yeah, the Chinese guy, and then Michelle Yeoh. I'm a big fan of hers. I grew up watching her, so, like, I went in for the actors, but I didn't go in for this whole, you know, this perspective and check out the, you know, it's like I didn't.
Movie has a really great story, especially when it comes to family. Definitely like that.
Right.
But, like, it's just
it's those little things that I don't know if it's supposed to be funny. I don't see it as funny. I see it as it's odd and weird. But that's my opinion. Yeah. And again, art is subjective. Don't take it personal. I'm just telling you this is where I'm coming from. You know, and it ties into everything we're all different, and I get it. But it's just, I want to know, what were they thinking? What's the real reason behind this craft? What were they trying to showcase? Like, what is going on in the director's or the writer's mind? Like, why did they go with this kind of dialogue, or why did they go with this kind of joke? And I want to know, like, really, like, you know, and if, once again, if it's because, oh, we're just experimenting, we're trying to do something different, it's one of those things, you know. I'm very, like, I get it, but at the same time, like, I'm not closed off to it.
The other thing I can say about this is that people try so hard to explain that side. You know, so, like, you come out saying, you know, I really didn't like Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Right.
And then people are going to be like, oh, it was such a great movie, like, trying to explain it to you. And it's like, the fact that you're having to try to explain to me is where we're already lost. You know?
Exactly. Yeah.
You know, people should just, well, they shouldn't. People can do whatever they want, but it'd just be nice if we're like, yeah, you know, he likes what he likes. They like what they like. That's it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And
we all don't have to like the same things.
Exactly.
Which is what makes everybody different.
Yeah.
You know, because you liked it doesn't mean I have to like it. I can understand it. I can get where you're coming from, but I still don't have to like it at the end of the day. But those people try so hard to make it seem like this is the best thing that you're going to watch.
Exactly.
And I think that's where I kind of am like, that's why I don't like it, because of the people who like it try so hard to make me like it.
And
it should just happen organically. Like with the movie, it should just, even if it's one of those A24 weird, like, it should just happen. Like, I can watch it. I'm like, wow, actually, no, that was pretty cool. You know, I actually like this one. The weirdness style, you know, it's starting to grow on me. It shouldn't just be like, well, because I say it, you know.
It doesn't matter. No. Yeah, and that's, again, I'm not trying to, like, close off everybody else. I'm just saying, like, again, it's my opinion, this is this is how I feel, but I'm not trying to deny the art itself. Like, yes, obviously it's a film. I'm not denying that. It's just the type of film that it was. I don't know if I was ready yet. Maybe I'm not there yet. I'm still processing what this is really unfolding. What is the unfolding mystery of this new wave of movies
Yeah.
or this new wave of art, new wave of music. I don't
other
know,
thing,
you
Poor
know?
Things. Like,
Oh yeah,
Did you
I
see
did
that
see
one?
it. I
Yeah?
did see it. Yes.
you see what I'm saying? Like, definitely
Yeah.
a beautiful movie. Beautiful movie. Like, it's man, it's like
look was
cinematography is
great.
really good. The look,
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
sets,
yeah.
the production design's nice.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, but story wise, like, I get it.
Yeah.
It's basically like the rated R version of Barbie
or
but-
Frankenstein, yeah.
Or Frankenstein,
yeah,
right?
just the female
Yeah,
Frankenstein.
and you know, I like that of it.
Yeah.
You know, it reminds me of those, and I'm like, that's cool. But then
Yeah.
you add in the element of, you know, just Emma Stone, just and Mark Ruffalo, just, you know, they're just banging the whole time.
Yeah, seriously.
And you're
yeah.
just like,
yeah. And you're like, that's
for me,
it, you know?
that I'm like,
What's the hype of that? Yeah, exactly. You're looking at it like, okay, I'm trying not to just focus on that, but like the majority of the film is that.
Is
and then
that.
you're like, what is the necessary need for this?
that's what
You
I
know?
think is. Why is it necessary?
Yeah.
Well, and then again, people are going to be like, well, it's necessary because they explain.
Exactly.
And I'm just like,
it's
Okay.
the style, it's the aesthetic, and I get it, but is it really
necessary?
Yeah, exactly.
Because I feel like that film could have been so great.
Yeah.
Even- again, it's a really good film.
But I went in for Emma Stone and I went in for that, and I don't know too much about this director. I know he's more like, yeah, he's a foreign director, but again, like
Where's
the
the foreign
aesthetics,
director?
yeah, like they're very different, obviously. And there's foreign directors that we like Guillermo del Toro, and
Yeah.
I love his monster looks, Hellboy, and all the aesthetics to that. You know, maybe certain stories didn't work
Maybe
out.
because he's Spanish, we kind of
I-
we're like, okay,
yeah,
we get it, man.
He's Mexican, yeah.
You know, we
he
get
just
it. Holding the two Oscars. No, he's one of those, like, I'm just like, nah. I
Yeah.
like his style.
like the whole I'll give you another example. Matrix Resurrections.
Yeah,
I hated the movie. I'm sorry, I hated it.
and you're a Matrix fan,
And I'm a
Like,
Matrix
yeah.
fan. Yeah, I grew up watching that movie, and it had a certain look. And then this new one came out, completely opposite. Destroyed it. Destroyed this franchise. They could have just ended it with a third, but instead they have to reboot everything and whatever. But I did not like it because it was the same director. It wasn't a new director, but it might as well have been a new director that did it, because they're trying to be different. They're trying to, and it's like, no, you have to know when to be different, when to not be different. Like, I think
Yeah.
that's the I guess the cycle of when is enough, when's enough, not enough, right?
Yeah, when it's enough, when it's
Right?
when it's time to like change and when it's time to not change.
Exactly, yeah. And that's the
I feel like
shift.
people are struggling to find that out.
Yes.
A lot of people, especially with filmmaking, a lot of people are.
And yeah, and that's a big debate, right?
Which is why,
there.
like, Star Wars, you know, the last
Oh,
ones that have come
man,
out, they're all
yeah.
misses, you know? Because
yeah.
we hold, like, in our hearts the old ones, right?
Yeah.
Like A New Hope,
Yeah.
Empire Strikes Back, like, we hold that.
Yeah.
And then we, you know, Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clone Sith, like,
Yes.
those were really good too. And
Yeah.
then we want those.
Yes.
And then they make something like new,
Yeah.
and we're not ready for,
No,
but it's not good.
it's not good. It
And it's
doesn't.
not good.
Yeah, and it doesn't hold doesn't hold that test of time kind of big picture, you know.
Yeah, and with Star Wars, obviously, like, the standard is so high with everything. People
Yeah.
are going to be critical from anything you do.
Right,
But
right.
I just wish they got something right. And it seems like they've
Yeah.
missed on pretty much everything,
Everything, yeah.
which is disappointing because I really like the actors.
Yeah, yeah.
I really like the actors and stuff, but
Yeah.
it's just not the same.
It
Like,
wasn't-
they can't even get a lightsaber scene right. Like, they can't even do something.
Oh
cool
yeah,
with
that
it,
was
dude.
the
They all
biggest.
suck.
That was the biggest critique for the new Star Wars movies. The lightsaber fight sequences, they sucked.
They're horrible.
They were half-assed, and
And
nah.
no.
I was so upset at that. Yeah, that's like one aspect, and
Yeah.
then the second aspect is story, and then it's like, wait, why are we making Rey? I thought this whole franchise was about Anakin Skywalker's journey
Mm-hmm.
and the connection with Kylo Ren, because that's his like, why?
Exactly. But
I want to know what's going on with Adam.
But yeah, again, it kind of just ties back to subjectivity with everything
Yes,
when it
yeah.
comes to art, music, movies.
Yeah.
I think those are the big three
Yeah.
when it comes to that. And we
Yeah.
do our best to try and understand every perspective.
Yeah.
I feel like we definitely do that.
Yeah.
But I feel like I start to lose interest when people try to tell me why it's good. When people
Yes.
try to tell me like why. And the counter to that is like, well, then why do you want to learn? It's like I'd rather be educated than told.
True.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah.
if you like, say I was the biggest fan of Everything Everywhere All at Once, and you don't like it, I'm not going to tell you, well, you should like it because of this, Adrian.
Yeah, yeah.
Adrian, you didn't understand the message. Like, how dumb are you?
Yeah,
Like, I'm
yeah,
not going
yeah.
to tell you that. I'm
Yeah,
going to
yeah.
be like, okay, I'm going to explain why I like it first and be like, hey, like this is the story they're trying to tell. This is the side that they're coming from,
Right.
and leave you with that. I'm not going to try and change your mind.
Yeah.
I'm going to explain to you what I think about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I like that approach better. I think it's the approach when we're trying to understand things.
Exactly, yeah.
Like, hey, why is this guy so cool?
Yeah.
Drawing a line on the wall, and I'm over here, creating art
Yeah. Yeah.
that's taken way more time and more creativity than this guy.
Yes.
I wish someone could explain why.
Yeah. It's the why and
It's just explaining and the approach on why.
their motive.
Instead of telling us that we need to. Like,
Right.
it's a difference between telling someone and explaining to someone.
Yeah.
right?
Of course. Yeah.
Like, I can tell you, like, hey, like, I like Peter Piper better than whatever your best pizza is.
Right. Right. Right.
Like, you should like it better because it has better cheese,
Yeah,
better
yeah.
pepperonis, better sauce.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, but I still like,
Yeah.
whatever it
Yeah.
is.
And it's true. And I think that's the biggest thing is with change. Everything comes with change. And I guess at the end of the day, we are all still processing our own change. And I think
100%.
that's what it comes down to. It's yeah, what is real, what is not real, but it's how we interpret what is happening, what is, like we say, unfolding, and what is ready to be altered.
Yeah.
So I think, yeah, that's the biggest lesson to learn from all of it is just, are we ready to change? Or are we not ready to change yet? And so,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I guess that's the,
Pretty much all of it kind
Yeah.
of wrapped up. Again, a lot of
Yeah.
these things we can go on for hours about, but
Yeah.
we'll just be going in circles.
yeah,
at that
yeah.
point.
And I don't want to be going so
Yeah.
much back and forth. Again, it's just a very diverse subject. And in general, there's so many things, I'm sure a bunch of people, not saying I'm not open to it. It's just certain things, certain opinions, certain feelings that I have. Maybe I'm just not there yet, or maybe I'm
Yeah.
getting to that point.
But that's okay.
Yeah.
But that's okay
Yeah,
to
yeah.
be not knowing what
Yeah.
what the future holds, not
Exactly,
knowing what
yeah.
you're gonna like, not knowing
Yeah.
if you're ready for that.
Yeah.
Instead of just following the crowd and being like, oh yeah, it's a masterpiece. Yeah,
Yeah,
I like that stuff.
exactly,
already. Like,
yeah.
I'd rather you
First have a
ease
voice.
into it.
Yeah.
First say like, you know what, I'm on the edge about this. This isn't really my style. I don't understand it.
Yeah.
But I'm willing to give it a try and see.
Yes. Yeah.
A couple months, couple years down the road of
Exactly,
what my
yeah.
taste is like, because
Yeah.
everyone's taste is going to change over the years. You
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
I feel like we've definitely gone through that, which is why we're here.
Yep.
Kind of just voice our opinions and
Yeah.
again, not shut anything down.
Yeah, yeah.
Just be open to it, but be willing to educate ourselves on the
Exactly,
subject.
yeah.
Like, we're genuinely wanting to know, like, why is this?
Exactly.
Asking the question why is very important. So
Yes,
I
for
think that's
sure.
something where we're at.
Yeah.
Both of us, we both have different tastes, but
Yeah.
we're asking, like, why is that? Why do people like this?
Why is it? Yeah.
Why is this so cool?
Yep.
Why?
Agreed 100%.
Yeah. Well,
Cool.
guess we can wrap it up there. That concludes episode, what is this, 8?
Oh yeah,
7,
8, yeah.
7, 8?
Yeah, 8. Yeah. It's pretty cool. Already, wow.
All right, y'all. So we will see you all next time. Appreciate you guys
Yeah.
listening or watching, wherever you're watching from.
Hopefully we can get maybe a guest. Maybe
Yes.
next episode. Maybe.
Definitely looking to get a guest.
Yeah.
Someone very familiar
Yeah.
that a lot of you might know or not know, but you will.
Yeah. Hopefully, yeah.
But you will.
That'd be
But
fun.
all right. Well, take it easy, and we will see you all in
Yeah.
the next episode.
See you guys.
Peace.
Thanks.